All right, hello everybody. Professor B here in San Francisco.
Unlock a new world of efficiency.
Here in San Francisco on Niners Radio 49. We're on the air. Glad you guys enjoying your Wednesday afternoon back here at Pete's Coffee this afternoon on Niners Radio 49 as the 49ers are down at Santa Clara getting back to work this afternoon today as they're getting ready to take on the Seattle Seahawks for a divisional game. A big divisional game this coming Sunday. Kickoff time will be at 1:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the game will be on Fox, of course. And we're going to we got some stuff. We're going to hear Kyle Shanahan's press conference, and then we first also, by the way, we'd like to apologize for yesterday. We had some technical difficulties with our podcast system. We didn't give you the full hour. We never get a chance to give you the full recap of that 49ers of the 1989 regular season game against the Falcons as we continue to pay homage and tribute to both the 1989 35th anniversary Niners Super Bowl season against the Atlanta Falcons. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do today. We're going to do back to back today. We're going to recap of Week 10, Niners taking on the Falcons, and we're going to give you a recap of Week 10 scoreboards from 1989, Niners and Falcons, and then later on also we're going to recap the 49ers Dallas Cowboys game from 1989 as well. From 1984, the Niners paying homage to the 30-year anniversary of that Super Bowl winning team. So we're going to do Kyle Shanahan's his preview of the Niners Seahawks to the media down from Santa Clara, and Demonor Lenoir's new 5-year contract extension worth $92 million. We'll hear that in the segment as well, and then we'll take a look back of the both the Niners are celebrating both the 30th and 35th anniversary of their Super Bowl seasons. First, we'll take a look back at 1989 Week 10 Niners taking on the Falcons at Candlestick Park, that game, and then we'll also take a look of 49ers and Cowboys from Week number 10 from 1994. This was the showdown for the top spot in the NFC. So we got plenty. So we'll be going into that today. So it's Niners and Seahawks this coming week. And we look at top of the Arizona Cardinals. Niners trail the Cardinals by one game. Of course, they own that tiebreaker. And then they have the tiebreaker advantage. And then they have that tiebreaker advantage over the 49ers right now. So the Niners are hopefully getting everybody back healthy. The Niners are going to have to pretty much win out, run the table. But like they say, we take them one game at a time. So this Sunday's game, Niners and Seahawks, that's going to be part of the, it's going to be a Fox game. That would be on Fox. And the game will be the afternoon. It's going to be I believe it's a single game. It's a single regional coverage for Fox, and the late game, because CBS will have the doubleheader. So the late game will be Kansas City at Buffalo. This was that's the late window so it's CBS's doubleheader window. So it's going to be a regional game, regional coverage on Fox, and then calling that game for Fox Sports will be Joe Davis and Greg Olson. Will call that game out here in San Francisco, or at Santa Clara, I should say. That's going to be the game of the day. And then the other games, so that's going to be the regional game, 1:05 kickoff time, right here on Fox, the exclusive network home of Super Bowl 59. So we right now are going to take you to that press conference. Kyle Shanahan presser. Then we're going to get you ready for. Then we're going to hear from Diminor Lanier's new 5-year contract extension, and then after that, we will. Then we'll go back in our timeline, recap 1989 49ers. Falcons as they begun that day in Week 10 with a commanding 3-game lead over the Los Angeles Rams. So now we'll take this quick timeout, and then we'll show you the press conference. Kyle Shanahan and Dominic Leonore as we Niners preview days they take on the Seattle Seahawks for this Sunday. We'll take this quick timeout. You're watching 49ers Live with Professor B on Niners Radio 49.
Injuries for practice today. George Kittle won't practice, hamstring. Mitch won't practice, back. Kevin Givens won't, groin. Mooney Ward, still personal. Nick Bosa, hip, won't practice. Trent Williams, ankle/rest, won't practice. Conley, hamstring limited. Feliciano, knee limited. McCaffrey, Achilles limited. Go ahead.
Does that mean that McCaffrey's Achilles acted up after this game?
No. Nope.
This is part of the regular maintenance of it?
Yeah.
Bernardo Green's good to go.
Yeah, good to go.
What's any latest on Charvarius, how he's doing, and when you'd expect him back?
I think he's getting close. Just talking to him. I don't want to put a date on it because you never know if that could change or not, but he's told us sooner than later, and hopefully he'll be in a good place to come back.
How happy are you to get the deal done with Diamador?
Oh, pumped. Something we tried to do in the offseason. Didn't get it done. They started working on it here a few weeks ago, and for them to finish it up yesterday, so pumped. Can't say enough about Demo. He's exactly what we want as a Niner. His style of play, how good he's become, and really just how much he loves football, and he's the same dude every day. So I know we were pumped. The guys were pumped. It was huge.
Thinking about his journey, because it was kind of up and down at the beginning, and then where he's come to now.
Yeah, that first year he got thrown in early and had a tough mistake on one of the last plays of the game versus Green Bay, giving up a big last play that they could kick a field goal. I remember after that, I was talking to him about it this morning, lost his confidence a little bit after that, just was down making a big mistake and really never got it back that year. But it was that OTAs, he was a different guy right away, and ever since that rookie year, he's been a stud for us every year.
Is he one of the most confident players on the team now?
Yeah, I believe so. I think he will. I don't think there's that much difference between him this year and last year. I thought he played at such a high level last year. I don't think everyone talked about it as much. And he's taken off right where he left off last year and only gotten better. And the way he's been playing all year with his confidence, his physicality, he's been one of our best.
He had a really loud stop in the run game. Well, what can you say about how well he's kind of taken that nickel role specifically for run fitting? He's got the mindset to do all that. He's got a mindset very similar to Jimmy Ward's. Just how he plays, how much he loves the physicality, how much he can cover, but he wants to play like a linebacker and really be a part of all that stuff. And I mean, he stuck out our first day of rookie camps when he got me fined like a lot because he jammed people too hard and then put it on the internet. So that was the first time I ever got mad at him, but I was really excited about it, despite what it took away my kids' college tuition. But it showed we had the right type of dude, and he's always been like that. And the fact that he can play nickel inside and play the way he does and play and cover guys outside is the types of guys you want in the secondary and a special type of corner.
Bosa said he's matured this year. He hasn't had to pull him back out of brawls this year or like starting stuff up. Have you seen that maturity as well?
I think so. I think Demo's always been a fighter. You can go back and hear the reports from college. Some things that have happened in the practice field, a couple in games. But I think he's really realized that he's ready to fight at any time, but you don't need to fight on a football field. You can get as close as you can, but you're always playing football, and whatever he does before or after, he's not going to get a penalty for, so you can deal with that.
Reminded Demo that maybe with that new contract that he should kick some your way?
I will. My kids will.
Do you see elements of him and Renardo Green? Are those two guys similar?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just the mindset we're talking about. Renardo in his rookie year, like he has got that type. I mean, when we drafted Renardo, it's one of my first notes on him. If I go back to my notes, is he'd rather hit you than get a pick, and that's we want both. But we love guys who are wired that way, and not all corners are wired that way. You got to be able to cover people, but if you can do both, that's what makes a football team better.
Does he have more of a quiet confidence?
Demo? Yeah, I mean, he doesn't talk that much. I think he does. I think he doesn't open up to everybody. But the longer he's been here, like you get in a smaller room with him, you get one-on-one, he'll talk just like Demo. I didn't think Demo talked at all. And now it's hard to not hear him. So guys change throughout everything. Rookies are always a little bit more quiet. I think that is his personality some, but all you got to do is call him in your office and have a one-on-one with him, and he doesn't mind talking.
How would you characterize the level of concern with Kittle and Bosa?
Not too high. I mean, Bosa was able to get through it last week. Kittle, I expect to have him out there tomorrow. It's just irritated. We'll be smart today, but you never know how the week goes, but I feel pretty good about both of them.
How about Wishnowsky? You guys brought in Pat O'Donnell.
Yeah, I am a little more concerned with that. Bothered him earlier in the year, pretty bad back to training camp, and it's flared up here this last week. And so we'll see how this week goes, but that's why we brought in another guy. So hopefully it'll take a turn for the better here, but right now we have some concern.
What did you guys like about O'Donnell? He's obviously been around a while.
We work everybody out, and he was a guy we felt that was the best of the available options. So he's been around in the league for a while. He understands, the timing of everything. He's a really good holder. You bring in a good punter, and he's not as good of a holder. That's a problem too, because it affects the kicker a lot, how good those holders are. So he's always been great at that, and you always like guys who've been and done it before.
With special teams as a whole, have you made any changes in terms of practice time or devoted meeting time to it, just in terms of trying to get that unit going to where you want it, or will you in the coming weeks?
Yeah, it's we devote a lot of meeting time and a lot of practice time. So we don't double down on that, the time spent on it, because I feel like we do as much as we can. We have mixed a lot of guys in there. We do feel like guys have gotten better, but it only takes one mistake to cost somebody, and it only takes one person. You look at the Seattle game that we had last time. If you go back and you watch all the film, I thought that was one of our chances to have our best special teams game of the year. We caused 2 turnovers, got both of them. Only one counted.
Se podría decir que ha sido una gran aventura. De Miami a Seattle, misión cumplida. Y te lo digo, Chevron con Tecron ha sido súper. Cuando estás visitando varios estados, debes ayudar a mantener tu motor limpio y a tener un millaje insuperable.
Chevron con Tecron.
Design team, come and get your award. I was diagnosed with thyroid eye disease just a few years ago. My bulging eyes were a real problem.
On a big kick return, and then they had that second one, and you just have those two plays, and it's can cost you a game. So I do think guys are getting better and stuff, but we got to make sure that we don't make those dumb plays where we can cause a penalty, or we can cause a turnover, and those are the things that we really got to clean up.
How difficult is that there's only so much you can do. Obviously, you have 53 guys in the practice squad, but like, how difficult is it to try to just generate that improvement from within on something like that?
It's real difficult. I mean, you got the choices you got, and as guys get in right when you get comfortable with somebody, and you start out the year playing a lot of young guys, and you think they'll get better as the year goes, and then some of your vets get hurt, and now those young guys are starters, and so that bumps other guys up, and it hurts their development when they try to do both because they needed a lot more reps, but as they get more pressure on them for offense and defense, it's tough. You got guys like even like Jordan Mason. He was one of our best special teams players last year, and he's been our starting running back for 8 of the games until last week. So all that stuff is a trickle-down effect. You try to get practice squad guys up who you think can help, but they better, one guy gets hurt and they don't know a position, that can cost you a game too. So all that's the challenges everyone has with special teams. You also aren't going to do a bunch of live stuff and full field stuff because you might get a little bit better, but you'll hurt your team before you even started. So it's stuff you just constantly harp on, constantly talk about. We get some of the mistakes we made earlier in the year, which puts all eyes on it. And that's why each little one we do now, it only builds the pressure on those guys. But I do like how they're kind of all committed to fix it. They're all working real hard, but we got to do better.
Christian came back this week and you guys got a bunch of explosives. Is it cause and effect, or what did the film show?
I don't think. I'm not even sure. I could be wrong. I'm sure you're right. I felt like we had less explosives than usual. Was that wrong?
Well, every weapon on the team had one explosive.
Oh, well, I think that stuff helps. I mean, it's, anytime you have like really good players out there, I mean, all those guys are going to do good until they try to take one away. And whenever you try to take one away, it helps out somebody else. And the better the player is, the more that space it helps for other people. And if it isn't helping other people, then it's the more space that player has. So the more great players you can have out there, the better looks everyone's going to have.
At halftime, Aaron Andrews said she had talked to you and he said you actually wanted to play Christian more in the first half because it was hot. You want to kill him. How much more did you want to play him?
I didn't exactly know the numbers. I think whatever the 4 plays he wasn't in. No. When I'm sprinting off a field and I have like 8 minutes to go in and pee, come up with 8 plays to talk to the offense, get all the tendencies, give a huge rah-rah speech to give us back out for a second half, my thoughts aren't always there when I'm running and talking to someone, and that's why I hate when they put me on TV. I'm not the most social at those times, and I'd rather go in there and work on my job. So, but yeah, I'm sure I did say that. I guarantee I did if Aaron said it, but I didn't know the numbers at the time either. I thought we had him out for a couple drives. We did take him out a couple times, and but the numbers weren't as, it felt like 100 plays he was out, but I think it was only like 4 or 5.
The way Moody bounced back from 3 misses and finished it off right. Did you talk to guys about just turning negatives into a positive situation?
Yeah, always. And that's some stuff we talk about all the time. I mean, no one has a perfect game ever that I've seen. I mean, kickers, I guess, can, because you're just judged on, your attempts. But I mean, just most football players, there's so many highs and lows that go in a game. Sometimes it could be in front of everybody, which usually is a quarterback or a missed tackle, a corner getting beat on something, a receiver dropping a ball, a penalty. But all that stuff's going to happen. It's about wiping it out and going to the next play, good or bad. I've had so many guys have such a I've been around guys who it's the opposite too. You're unbelievable for 3 quarters. You do all this good stuff. You're feeling good, great about yourself, and then you don't look the ball in and you drop it on a crucial play in the fourth, and that's all anyone remembers, and that's all the team remembers, because that's the one that looks like it cost the game. So everything is about not being too high or too low, and just staying even keel and worrying about whatever happened once you get in the locker room and watch the tape.
I tragically missed the Monday conference call, but I had a follow-up for you. You said Tabor overreacted, probably, not misreading the situation. I mean, did Debo also overreact?
Yeah, you can't throw whatever type of punch that was. You can't do that. I mean, you know, Debo, where Tabor overreacted was what I was saying is Debo wasn't saying anything bad to the kicker. And Tabor was overprotective of the kicker, which I like his intentions, but, you know, he misinterpreted it, and he got too close to Debo, which was irritating to Debo. And there was other ways he could have got him out of his face instead of the way he did. But there was nothing between Debo and Jake, and to watch him kind of graze Pepper and fall into Jake, and it just looked like that he's punching Jake because he missed a field goal. You know, that could have been avoided. I didn't mind at all what Debo said to Jake, and Jake didn't mind it either. But regardless of what happens, you don't throw a punch, and you see what happens when that happens.
Evan Anderson had a big tackle at the end of the game. Are you guys getting more out of him than you would have expected from an undrafted rookie?
Well, yeah, when you have an undrafted rookie, you hope that you don't have to put him in too much. But it's just like everything. When there's injuries, it's next man up. And you hope you don't have too many, so you don't have to keep going outside the building. He showed some good things in training camp. You know, we hope he didn't have to get in too fast, but once guys got hurt, he was the next man up, and each game he has gotten better in. We were excited about him to begin, but you never know where a guy's going to go till he gets his op, and he's gotten better each week. I thought last week he played a hell of a game. That play at the end was great. You know, we called a stunt on it, which there was some movement, and I thought it was a good call by Nick, and he made the play by missing two and getting back there, and made some good plays in the last game too. So we've been real happy with him. We've needed him to step it up like this, because with the injuries, it's hard to be successful if those guys don't come in and at least do their job, and then hopefully as they do their job, they get better.
Brock Yassin had taken a defensive snap all year until he gets in the field and there's a penalty, but then he makes a play at the end. I mean, what to say about a guy to be ready after all that time not playing?
No, I can't say enough good things about Rock. Like, Rock is such a football player. He's always locked in. He's ready to go, never pouts if he doesn't get an opportunity. When he does, he looks like he's been in there all game. I mean, just the question you guys were saying earlier about the mental toughness of the kicker and things like that. That's what I mean by everybody. I mean, he had a big penalty a few plays before that. You know, he had 4 on that drive, and then the final third down goes to him one-on-one. And, you know, if you're worrying about your penalty earlier, there's no way he covers him on that. No one was underneath him. He was on his back, and he still had to attack him and get his hand in there and almost caused a pick. So there was a lot of guys who made some mistakes at times, and especially in that fourth quarter, from the kicker to the defense to Brock, to everyone, made some big plays to get us back and win that. All right, thanks, guys.
Amazon early holiday deals are here. With everything you need to kick off the season. Shop Amazon early holiday deals now.
did it get done now because their asking price, or your asking price got higher, or they agreed?
We was all. I mean, I knew this where I wanted to be, so we was always in negotiations like after the Super Bowl. So I mean, I was. Hopefully, we could have got something done earlier, but I'm happy we got something done. You know, and I'm here, and I remain here for the rest of my career. You know, so I just like to thank, you know, the Yorks, this whole organization, Kyle, John, my coaches, you know, my teammates, you know, for pushing me every day. You know, just being able to play with, you know, all these great guys. You know, I had no other option but to try and be great. So I just tip my hat off to my team.
Why did you want to test unrestricted free agency? Like, why were you so motivated to stay?
I've been a West Coast guy my whole life. The camaraderie within the team, you know, all the players, my brothers, my family. My family is from this side. So I knew it was a place that I could see myself, you know, long term.
Do you have to get a phone call that the deal is done? Do you take time to kind of reflect on your journey to get to that point, and what were kind of the emotions of that?
I was happy. When I heard my agent tell me the deal was finally done, you know, I burst out into tears. You know, it was, you know, that I finally, you know, able to change my family's life, you know, for generations, you know. So it was just a blessing.
You look back at your draft day when it was the 5th round and you were upset that you got.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually was just telling Tig and Malik about it this morning. You know, just being, you know, drafted, you know, in the 5th round, you know, going 4 rounds going by and not hearing your name. You know, I was just seeing Bleacher Report articles and stuff, you know, with my name on it, saying I was going to be selected in the 3rd round. So I was happy for day 2. So when that didn't happen, you know, day 3, it started to get a little scary for me. You know, I thought I was going to be able to hold my composure, but, you know, I gave up, honestly, you know, and then there was a 408 number calling. I didn't know which team it was because I thought the 49ers were in San Francisco. But I didn't. So when I answered the phone, you know, it was John, and I immediately just started screaming, yes, like it finally happened. And after that, it was, you know, it was just all up to me, you know, to just put everything into the plan.
Kyle was recounting the time when you got him fined. What do you remember about that?
I remember it was posted by accident. So when I posted it, I just seen my phone kept going off, you know, and I was like, I didn't post nothing on Instagram. So then when I looked back, it was like, it was everywhere. Then I seen the Sports Center and I was like, oh, this is bad. I might be, yeah, I was, I was like, I might be cut, you know. So I was nervous. I remember Coach CU, Corey Underland, I remember him calling me and he was like, why did you post that? And I was like, I didn't try to. And he was like, oh man. And then 5 minutes later, he called me back. He was like, you good? You good? It was a good post. But yeah, now I can finally pay Kyle back, you know, for Carter's tuition.
Kyle mentioned that after your rookie year, your confidence was a little bit down, and now that you're one of the more confident people, if not the most confident person on the team, when did that really change for you?
That really took place when I had my son. At that time, the season had just ended. He was about 6 months. I had moved to Arizona, and I felt like that was like my growth stage. You know, I stayed in that whole off season. I stayed my head down, working, really just putting myself in situations, watching film, like, you know, with our defense, making different calls and checks and seeing, you know, like how teams attack certain coverages and stuff. And I felt like that would elevate my game.
Congrats on the new deal. Nobody does it alone. Who were some guys along the way? I know you worked at the Mamba Institute. Who are some guys that kind of helped you get to this point?
I would say my family and friends, you know, just pushing me to be great. You know, always, it was kind of like never, like the people I had around me, they were never like, I would say, haters or were like, they always told me that, you know, they look for them for me to be great, you know, to push me to get to new heights. And they always was telling me like, oh, you can't do this, like just as a way of a challenge. Cause I'm the person, like, I like to be challenged. I'm like a competitive person. So when they would tell me stuff like that, I would like to try to prove them wrong. So I would say they actually, you know, molded me to the player I am right now.
At the time that you were drafted, we learned that you had a connection with Richard Sherman, both being from LA. How big of an influence has he been? And I just realized also when you were talking about the 5th round, he also dropped to the 5th round. Is that something that you've talked to Richard about?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, he paved the way, you know, for guys like me in my area. You know, he was like one of the first to do it. So to see him get a big contract, it was like motivation to me to let me know that I can do the same. And, you know, I appreciate him also, you know, for just being that big brother and, you know, calling me, you know, when times weren't good and just getting me through it and just telling me to be that dog.
You said you weren't in a rush to get a deal done. You were more focused on kind of solidifying yourself as a top corner in this league. Do you feel like this deal solidifies that everybody else now agrees with kind of how you viewed yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure. I wanted to, you know, prove to you guys, you know, I was always the person, you know, I would be confident and then speaking aloud and saying stuff like I'm the best, but I wanted to prove to you guys first, you know, and prove to the world, you know, who I am.
Do you feel this deal puts a target on your back, or do you feel like it's already been?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm happy if it did put a target on my back because, you know, I'm ready for anything.
Ward have on you? Have you talked to him at all?
Oh yeah, I talked to Mooney. You know, I talked to him last night. He was excited for me. You know, I was just telling him can't wait to have him back. You know, so we can get this thing on the road and get a bowl. You know, but he was in good spirits and you know, he was happy for me. You know, we talked about this all the time. He used to always tell me, I can't wait till you get paid. You know, change your life.
All right, thanks, Mo.
So that's Domino Lenore discussing about his brand new contract, a 5-year deal worth $92 million. Guys watching 49ers Live here on Niners Radio 49. I'm over here at Pete's Coffee here in San Francisco in the Marina District. As glad you guys joining in a little bit past 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Niners Radio 49. Check us out on all of this. If you want to watch a replay of this or any of our content, go to youtube.com/Niners Radio 49. Please hit the subscribe button. Our goal is trying to get 1,000 subscribers. So coming up, we're gonna take this little brief quick timeout, and when we get back, we're gonna get you queued up for our Niners Radio 49 flashback. We're gonna do a doubleheader today. For those you missed it yesterday, we had some technical problems with our podcast yesterday. We weren't able to. We were unfortunately didn't turn out So we're gonna. So we definitely want you to get back to Niners Radio 49 flashback and just get back to it. Niners Radio 49 flashback segment 1989 Week 10 Niners against the Atlanta Falcons at Candlestick Park as the defending Super Bowl champion Niners trying to defend their crown as champions of the football world. They're taking on the Falcons at Candlestick Park, and we're going to take a look back at that, and then we will take a look back as we commemorate the 35th anniversary of the 49ers of them winning back-to-back Super Bowls as they would go on to become the team of the 1980s. Then after that, we'll look back at week number 10, Niners and Cowboys, the showdown for the two best teams in pro football as we commemorate the 30-year anniversary of the 49ers' last Super Bowl win back in 1994. So let's take a break, take a timeout. We'll take a little bit of a timeout, and we'll get right back to it in just a few. Professor B for Niners Radio 49. We'll take this timeout. We'll be right back. All right, Professor B here. We're back here on Niners Radio 49, 49ers Live on Niners Radio 49 as we're getting you ready for the next stage for our segment on Niners Radio 49. Check us out, youtube.com/Niners Radio 49. As our goal, we continue to thrive and try to get 1,000 subscribers. So we will now take you back to week number 10. 49ers taking on the Atlanta Falcons at Candlestick Park. It was on the Monday, or it was and just we can give you the previous week, the 49ers with a convincing win over the New Orleans Saints, 31-13, as the 49ers are coming into this game. They improved their record at 8-1 against the Falcon team is 3-6. Now, coming in this game, the Niners are right now are 8-1. The Falcons are 3-6. Niners have a commanding 3-game lead over the LA Rams. We're going to show you that highlight. Get ready to show you that highlight of the Niners. This was from the regular season. And this was from the 1989. And it's so we continue on Niners Radio 49 as here we go. So we're getting that thing little handy. So right now we're gonna get ready to show you that Niners 49 or Niner Radio 49 flashback segment presented by the Venardi Law, the Venardi Zoreda Law, free confidential consultations, no recovery fees. The Venardi Zorardi Law Firm is the official injury attorneys of the San Francisco 49ers. So from 1989, and we show you this highlight between the Niners and Falcons from week number 10 at Candlestick Park from November 12, 1989.
NFC West foes the following week by demolishing the overmatched Atlanta Falcons. In a repetitive combination that devastated opponents but never bored the hometown fans, Montana and Rice led the way to the 49ers' biggest offensive output of the season. Number 30, Keith Henderson, scored his first NFL touchdown, as did perennial All-Pro linebacker Charles Haley, number 94.
Pressure by Holt, pressure by Haley, and the ball slips out of his hands. It's picked up by Haley. He goes into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers.
Sam.
All right, that was NFL films from 1989, 49er highlight film. The late Harry Callis with that. We're gonna continue on Niners Radio 49. Let's just take a look at the from that game from 1989 on our. And this is from Wikipedia, 1989 49ers yearbook. So we're going to pull this one out and. So we're just going to give you the screen for the all right, so the Niners ended up winning this game 45-3. The game was played on November 12th, 1989. Game time kickoff time was at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The game time weather was 59 degrees and mostly cloudy, 14 miles per hour wind, 59,914. The referee was Jerry Seaman. The game was on CBS. The announcers were Tim Brandt and Dan Jiggets with the call. So this is with some of the numbers of the game. Top passers, Chris Miller they held him to only 149 yards passing. Joe Montana threw for 270 yards, completing 16 of 19. 270 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Roger Craig led the way for the 49ers. 17 carries, 119 yards. Tom Rapp with 6 catches for 43 yards. The Niners forced 2 Falcon turnovers in the contest. So the Niners keep on winning with the win. The Niners improved their record to 9-1. Falcons fall to 3-7. Now let's take a look of what else is going on in the NFL 1989 from the 1989 NFL scoreboard. We're going to take you to that in just a moment, and we're going to pull this up. Look at here we go. So the final scores on Sunday, November 12th, 1989, it was the Dolphins over the Jets, 31-23. Dan Marino threw for 359 yards and threw 3 touchdown passes. All right, so we had some technical difficulties on that last segment, so looking back at Week 10, so the Niners with their 45-3 win now has the league's best record, the best record in the NFC, best record in all of football and in the conference as well. Giants are 8-2, and the Niners have a one-game lead. They maintain a 3-game lead ahead of the Rams for the top spot in the NFC West and a 1-game lead over the Giants for the overall top spot in the NFC. And those teams would hook up in 2 weeks' time on Monday Night Football back in 1989. But we'll take a look at that game in a couple of weeks' time when we do our 35th anniversary recap. And then it was the Browns over the Seahawks up at the Kingdom, 17-7, as leading the way for the Browns. Eric Metcalf's 19 carries for 75 yards for the Browns, and then Brian Blades 4 catches for 57 yards for a touchdown, counted for the Seahawks' only score. Browns improved to 7-3. The Seahawks dropped to 4-6. Then it was the Phoenix Cardinals over the struggling Dallas Cowboys, as the Cardinals went 24-20. As rookie quarterback Tom Tupa, who also was a quarterback by trade, later was a full-time punter, threw for 245 yards and 2 touchdown passes, as the Phoenix Cardinals improved to 5-5, as the Cardinals handed the Cowboys their 9th loss in their first 10 games. Struggling year for rookie head coach Jimmy Johnson and rookie owner Jerry Jones down at Big D. And then it was the Chargers over the Raiders at Jack Murphy Stadium, before later known as Qualcomm Stadium, down at the Murph, 14-12, as Willie Galt 5 catches for 88 yards. Anthony Miller led the Bolts, 5 catches for 54 yards. With the win, the Chargers improved to 4-6, while the Raiders fall back to 500 at 5-5. So that's where that was. By the way, that was Art Shell taking over for Mike Shanahan at the quarter mark, 4 games into the season. So, and then on Monday Night Football, it was the Oilers over the defending AFC champion Bengals, 26-24, as Bengals for 19 carries for 141 yards. In the contest, and that's what 100, and they trail the Oilers, they trail the Browns 1 game behind the Oilers for second place, and they trailed the Browns by 2 full games in the AFC Central Division. So there is a look of Week 10 highlights of the 1989 season. And so we're going to go take this quick time out, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the 1994 Week 10 49ers and Dallas Cowboys. That was one of the games of the year of the 1994 49ers, as we continue to pay homage and the celebration of the Niners' last Super Bowl victory. Professor B, you're watching 49ers live on Niners Radio 49. Let's take this time out. We'll be right back. All right, we continue on Niners Radio 49. Hope you're joining us in on Niners Radio 49. 49ers Live, Professor B with you on this Wednesday afternoon. The 49ers getting back to work. They're getting ready to take on the Seattle Seahawks this Sunday. Kickoff time will be at 1:05. Our next edition of 49ers Tailgate Show will be coming up next week. We'll bring it to you. We'll be taping it. I'll be out there taping it this coming Sunday, and then we'll put it on Niners Radio 49 on our YouTube later in the week. So we're going to go back in our flashback segment, taking it back, and this is going to be a good one. This is, of course, the 49ers are observing the 30-year anniversary of the 49ers' last Super Bowl win, and we did it every week. We're paying homage to the 40-year anniversary of the 49ers Super Bowl win season when they went 15-1, and then they went that 84 season, record-breaking year. Then we just went back and did the 49ers 1989 35th anniversary of the 49ers winning back-to-back Super Bowls, winning they end up winning the Super Bowl back-to-back years. In 89, they go 14-2 and go undefeated on the road. And then now we're going to go into week number, and then we're going to go down to week 11 from the 1994 season. That was a magical Super Bowl year for the 49ers, taking on the two-time defending Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys. This time the action set at Candlestick Park. So we're going to go back in time on that in just so we take a look back in time. Taking a look back to the 11th week of the season. And before we do, we'll take a look back of the previous weeks. The Niners coming in this crucial matchup. The previous week, the 49ers defeated the Redskins in the nation's capital 37-22 back in the 10th week. And now the scene's shifted now to Candlestick Park in week 11 when the Niners taking on America's team, the two-time defending NFC champ or Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys. This was the main event, the matchup that everybody had been pushing for since training camp started back in late July, early August. The two best teams in all of football. These were the two heavyweights. Hey, you talk about in sports with rivals. In baseball, it was the Giants-Dodger rivalry. You think of that rivalry. Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson, Juan Marichal, Juan Marichal, Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale. The teams moved, and then you think of the Yankees-Red Sox with Babe Ruth being sold from the Red Sox to the Yankees. That rivalry with Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio. Then it's you go to like the late 70s. It was the Yankees with Billy Martin, Reggie Jackson, and Thurman Munson against Carl Yastrzemski, Carlton Fisk, and Jimmy Rice. And then later on was Derek Jeter, A-Rod, and Manny, and Big Papi, and so forth. And then the rivalry between the great rivalries. In this rivalry, the Niners and a new rivalry, Just put my light on. Just give me a time. Yeah. And then it's this new rivalry. It's the Niners and Cowboy rivalry. course, going back to the 70s, Brody. The rivalry between the Niners and Cowboys in the 70s, it was Starbuck throwing a dagger to the Niners' chance to get to the Super Bowl in the early 70s, sent in that divisional playoff heartbreaker, sent the Niners into a tailspin the rest of the decade while the Cowboys continued to dominate the NFC. They would win another Super Bowl, make multiple Super Bowl appearances. Then there was the catch, Montana, the Dwight Clark, the catch in 81 and the January of 82 that started it all for San Francisco and then slowly sent the Cowboys into a tailspin. And then by the late 80s, the Niners were the team of the 80s while Dallas struggled. 1989, of course, the Cowboys finished 1-15 in Jimmy Johnson's first year, rookie year as head coach. That was Jerry Jones' first year as a rookie owner. And now this was and then now, they played each other only one other time in 1990. The Niners won that game at Texas Stadium. The Niners were going for their three-peat while the Cowboys slowly started to improve. But then now we fast forward about 2 years later, NFC Championship game 1992. The Niners playing the Cowboys at Candlestick Park, and then the Cowboys beat them at the stick, which would be, the Cowboys, the youngest team in pro football, would go on to win the Super Bowl, beating the Buffalo Bills, and which was Joe Montana's final game in the Niners uniform and playing as a backup role to Steve Young, and then, of course, Joe Montana was traded to Kansas City that offseason in the spring of 93. Then we go for the second year in a row. This time the Niners played the Cowboys in the regular season. The Cowboys beat the Niners in Big D in the regular season. Then they played them in the NFC Championship game, and then Dallas beat them again. And they would go on for the second year in a row. They would beat the Bills to win their second straight Super Bowl back-to-back years. But 1994 would be kind of different. Of course, that offseason, Jimmy Johnson stepped down as head coach, parted ways with Jerry Jones. Of course, the whole drama, the philosophical differences, and Jimmy Johnson just stepped away. And now Barry Switzer, another former national champion coach, Barry Switzer, who coached those great Oklahoma Sooners teams, but kind of at that time was laid low in recent years up to that point. Of course, he stepped down as the Sooners head coach back in the late 80s while his team, the program, was under a lot of issues. They were on probation. They were on probation for recruiting violations. All kinds of stuff went down. They were on probation. Players were getting in trouble, run-ins with the law. Two players ended up on that team, got convicted of sexual assaulting a woman. You had their quarterback, Charles Thompson, got convicted for drug possession, cocaine distribution, ended up serving some time in jail. So there was not great times in Norman, Oklahoma for the Sooners, a proud program of the Sooners. And I think when they lost that on New Year's Day, when they lost to the Miami Hurricanes, was then coached by Jimmy Johnson, and that was probably one of the best college football rivalries back in the 80s. That's when things started to go south for the program. Pretty much after that loss in the Orange Bowl, that determined the national championship for 1987 back on New Year's Day or New Year's night, 1988, over 36 years ago. So, pretty much Barry Switzer ended up taking the Cowboys coaching gig, and it's a different team. They lost some players to free agency. Niners pick up Ken Norton Jr. from Dallas. Then, of course, they picked up other guys like Richard Dent, a former Super Bowl champion and MVP of Super Bowl 20. Charles Mann, he ended up getting a couple of Super Bowl rings with the Washington Redskins. They ended up picking up offensive linemen, and the Niners brass, once they lost to Dallas for the second straight year in the NFC Championship, Eddie DeBartolo and then team president Carmen Palsy said, this is not going to happen again next year. And they meant it. They started going into the free agency draft. to go to free agency. They had players on that team was restructuring their contracts, so they get the players to come to get over that hump to win that 5th Super Bowl. And they kept on plugging in pieces, and then they eventually got Deion Sanders. But the big key was that draft class of '94, acquiring a future Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer Bryant Young. They end up also got end up picking up rookie fullback from Florida State, William Barnum Floyd, who was on that 1993 national championship team that featured for the Florida State Seminoles, that featured, of course, the coach, the late Bobby Beathard, along with Heisman Trophy winner Charlie Ward. Those were the pieces that they picked up to get to that next level. Then, and then, of course, you had 1993 NFL Rookie Defensive Player of the Year, Dana Stubblefield, interior lineman, and they reloaded. They were reloading, and they had to put the supporting cast behind Steve Young. Of course, you had Jerry Rice, the all-time receiver, Ricky Waters in that backfield. Then you pick up primetime Deion Sanders. So this is the game that everybody, since training camp, when the schedules came out back in the previous spring, this is where everybody had circled their pencil of the marquee game. The marquee game. Niners and in just a moment. So we're about to show you that clip right now from week number 11, Niners and Cowboys, coming right up. You're watching 49ers Live on Niners Radio 49.
To win, the 49ers would have to shut down Troy Aikman and shut up trash-talking playmakers like Alvin Harper.
Real number 80 is in town today. Real number 80. You got a fake number 80 over there. Crybaby. You come all the way out here to kick their ass.
We got a lot to do there. We got a lot to do.
After spotting Dallas' 7-point lead, Steve Young's arm and legs took over.
Come on, Steve! Come on!
49ers responding to a Dallas touchdown, and Young squeezes in for the score.
Then Jerry Rice made Alvin Harper eat his pregame words.
Jerry Rice, not a big factor in the game yet, is out to the left. Back to throw is Young. And he sends it way down the left sideline for Rice. There's one-on-one coverage. Jerry makes the catch, breaks the tackle. He gets by. Brown into the end zone. Touchdown, 49ers.
Eagerly joining Rice on the growing list of 49ers Cowboy killers was safety Merton Hanks.
Aikman straight back to throw. Goes for the end zone. At the goal line, the ball is tipped up and intercepted. Picked up in the air by Hanks. Pass over the middle, picked off! Merton Hanks has another interception! And Merton Hanks can run for governor, at least in the Northern California vote, with his game.
Hanks' second steal set up the game-clinching score.
And again the bootleg. Young, unbelievably, this time throws. He gets it to Brett Jones into the end zone! Touchdown 49ers! Bootleg pass to Brett Jones, puts the game away!
We'll see y'all again.
There is this little sadistic
excited me to realizing how great an NFC Championship rematch between these two teams will be now.
Both of us got to just stay on the track they're on, and maybe we will see each other later on as people have predicted. But we've got an awful lot of the season ahead of us. I think we're all very excited about what just took place. At the same time,
All right, that was some great footage. The game of the day back in 1994, 49ers with a 21-14 win over the Dallas Cowboys that, more importantly, that's ended their 3-game losing streak, which included the 2 NFC Championship losses. So the 49ers technically beating the Cowboys for the first time in 4 years since 1990. So we that was one of our keys, the Niners winning 21-14. We're going to give you the full recap of that game, and then we're going to this is going to be a good one. We'll do it in its entirety as we go into that Week 11 game. This was the game of the day, and of course, this is why I love watching doing these exercises. Of course, that with the voice of Harry Callis, once again, NFL Films, the great legendary voice of the legendary Joe Starkey, who now retired. He just got done wrapping up the California Golden Bears. We are going to give you the highlights of this game from week number 11. And so let's take a look at this of the game itself. So the Niners end up getting their first win since 1990, and this was from November 13th, exactly 30 years ago today. November 13th, 1994. The kickoff time was at 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 4 o'clock Eastern. This was the game of the day. The game time weather, 57 degrees, 8 miles per hour wind. The attendance, 69,014. I repeat, 69,014. The referee was Bernie Kukar. The announcers of this game was televised on Fox. This was Fox's first year with the rights to the NFC package, and we got the 2 great legends, and I miss them. We all miss them. Pat Summerall and John Madden with the call. This was the heavyweight bout, the 2 best teams in the National Football League. And we're going to recap you this game. And we're going to recap the game, and we're going to go break it down. Well, everybody talks about the about the Niner Cowboy game, and that was the game of the day. But look at what also happened around the NFL that Sunday. Drew Bledsoe throwing for over 400 yards, nearly having a perfect quarterback rating. You had the Chargers winning a big game against their AFC West rival, Kansas City Chiefs. They would end up sweeping the season series over the Bolts, sweeping over the Chiefs. They own a commanding 2-game lead. They're 8-2 through the first 10 weeks of the season. And then, they kind of a bit lost their grip on the top spot for the AFC. They would go 11-5. They would after that game, they would only win 3 of their. They would only win, I believe, they were 8-2. So they would only win 3. They would only end up going 3-2, won 3 of their final 5 to go 11-5. But what a great weekend! What a great weekend back in Week 11. Niners winning getting that monkey off of the back. But they, they still have a lot of work to do because they now own their 3 games up on the Falcons for the top spot in the NFC West. Now it's all about the Niners, not about catching the Falcons, not beating the Falcons, beating the Rams and the Saints. It's all about getting that number 1 overall seed for the top spot in the conference. Hopefully they have the road to Miami go through Candlestick in San Francisco for the NFC playoffs. Dallas losing, they maintain their grip atop the NFC West. Now that they got 2 losses, they have a 1-game lead over the Philadelphia Eagles, who at the midway point was 7-2 in 1994, but they fell apart, finishing with a 7-game losing streak, 7 straight losses. So, there was a great weekend for football. Week 11, 1984, and I hope all of you guys enjoying this podcast this afternoon. Professor B with you. We're going to get ready to wrap it up in a few moments. Before we do, we're going to take a look. We'll also take a look of what's some 49ers news, some transactions that went down a little while ago before we start the podcast. As we are we're going to try to So we're taking a into the mic. So they signed their punter today in case if Wisnowski is not going to be able to give it a go on Sunday. So we covered it all this afternoon, almost 2 hours, 51 minutes plus and change. And we'd like to thank all of you for watching Niners Radio Live, 49ers Live today. We'd like to thank for all of you. We will hopefully we'll have another podcast maybe tomorrow, or we'll just give you an update. We thank you for your continuous support on Niners Radio 49ers. That's what we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers and trying to get this thing going. So, and we got a lot more coming. We'll hopefully have another show either tomorrow during the daytime, or we'll give you an update what's going on. So in the meantime, we're getting ready to wrap it up, and I hope we enjoyed those segments we had, recapping both the 1989 49ers Super Bowl season, the Week 8 against the Falcons, or Week 10 against the Falcons, and Week 11 against the Dallas Cowboys. What a great times of being a 49er fan, and that's kind of put me back in my childhood doing junior high. When I was 1989, I was in the 7th grade when they were in the midst of winning their back-to-back Super Bowls, and then, of course, I was 5 years later, I was a senior when the last time the 49ers won the Super Bowl. So check us out on youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. If you want to check out that interview I did with Mike Silver, well, I did about, I think, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago when they were at the San Francisco, at the Jewish Community Center in San Francisco. We did that podcast, a great podcast. You need to check all that out. All right, so we're getting ready to wrap it up now, getting close towards 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Getting ready to wrap it up for this afternoon now. We're in the early evening hours. Thank you for watching this 49ers Live. We did the recap of all 3 of their Super Bowl anniversaries. Now, next week when we get back to doing our anniversary, we will take a look back of week number – we'll look at week number 12 when the Niners from 1984 of their Super Bowl winning seasons from 1984 when the 49ers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Candlestick Park. And then then after that, the next day I think next Tuesday we'll take a look back at 1989 week number 11 when the Niners taking on the surprising Green Bay Packers who come to Candlestick Park, coached by then the late Lindy Infante and the Magic Man quarterback Don Majkowski. And then after that, next Wednesday, we'll take a look back of week number 12 when the 49ers taking on the Los Angeles Rams in 1984 at Candlestick Park. And what would be the final time that these two longtime state rivals battle each other out. Of course, the Rams would end up leaving Anaheim Stadium, moving to the Midwest to St. Louis after the 1994 season. So we covered a lot today. We recap and all the news, Dominic Lenore getting his new contract, and then listen to Kyle Shanahan's press conference previewing the Niners and Seahawks. We hopefully get somebody from Seattle sports who cover the Seahawks. We'll get on the podcast later in the next day or two. For the latest news on 49ers news and so much more, go to 49ers.com. Reminder that if you want to purchase tickets for upcoming games for the 49ers and Seahawks, the plane tickets are still available. Go to Ticketmaster.com. Ticketmaster.com is the official ticket sponsor for your San Francisco 49ers. And again, latest news on the 49ers, go to 49ers.com and youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. If you want to watch a replay, in case you missed this one today, you can watch a replay of this Niners this podcast or any other podcast from the past. Go to youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. That's it. Is live with yours truly, Professor B, on Niners Radio 49. 49ers Live is an exclusive presentation on Niners Radio 49, an exclusive of Satellite Digital Media News. 49ers football, faithful to the band.